boats, anything you bring in, you bring out, campgrounds all around the lake. A wilderness experience like you probably will have never experienced before can be had in the Boundary Waters. And there's also lakes and rivers in southern Minnesota as well that are very popular. People are looking for little more of the small town feel, the unique lakes that are closer to the southern part of the state. Depends on what you're interested in, and we have a lake to meet your needs.
So is water a major part of life during the summer?
Absolutely. Water is one of the things that helps define Minnesota. The water and the healthy living that we have here in the state. People that I know just love to get out in the water, and anytime they're even looking for a place to live, whether it's in the state or elsewhere, like my wife, she wants to be near water. It's kind of built, it's in our blood. Water is part of what defines us as a state.
As part of the 5 reasons to visit your state in the autumn or fall, you list leaf peeping. What is leaf peeping?
Leaf peeping is just an interesting way of watching the colors, the change of seasons. I think at the beginning of this conversation, I talked about how we love our different seasons and changes in Minnesota. And the fall is a time where you can see just brilliant colors and oranges and yellows and the reds of the trees. And we actually have reports that go out and show exactly which part of the state that the leaves are turning. It kind of the color change starts in the north and moves to the central part of the state and then into the southern part of the state. And people go on our website and the Department of Natural Resources website to look at the reports from the state park managers to find out where you can get the best colors. And people just love driving through these forests, driving through the roads in Minnesota to see the colors, stop, take a picture, do some hikes. It's just a beautiful time of the year where you have the crisp, cool day or cool nights, beautiful days. I mean, it's just, I love the fall.
You've already been diplomatic with one of your answers when I asked about the most popular lakes. So it's according to the infographic, there's 21 scenic byways for leaf peeping. If you had family come to visit, which of these byways would you go to look at the changes in colours?
Well, it depends on, and I don't want to be overly diplomatic here, but it depends on whether or not they really know that much about the state. Mm-hmm. Your listeners, maybe they don't know much about Minnesota. So I would say the Great River Road Scenic Byway, which is a byway along the entire length of the Mississippi River, starting in the headwaters in northern Minnesota. You would have the Mississippi River. Everybody's heard of it. Everybody wants to see it. You can go up, and actually you can walk across the Mississippi River at its headwaters, and doing that in the fall along the Great River Road is a wonderful experience. Another experience is the Lake Superior Scenic Byway up north of Duluth up into Canada along Lake Superior. People love to drive that byway to look at the small towns, to look at the color changes. And if you hadn't been to Minnesota before, Mississippi River and Lake Superior are probably 2 things that I would mention.
We've talked about craft beers and the many different microbreweries you've got, but you also do cider in the state, and I do like my cider. So where would be a good location to base myself if I wanted to experience as many ciders as possible?
Well, I would probably say get yourself located in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area somewhere. There's a lot of orchards within the metro area. In fact, the little town that I live in called Stillwater, Minnesota. There's many orchards north of there. There's many orchards down along the Mississippi River south of the Twin Cities. So if you were to come to this state, stay in maybe a place like Stillwater, Minnesota. It's a unique little small town. You could visit the orchards north of Stillwater. You can go down south. You can come back in the evening as your base. You really can enjoy your cider. You could also throw a craft beer in there, too.
Okay. I'll make sure I do.
Good Morning, sir.
Hi, I'm checking in for my flight.
Lovely. Business or pleasure?
Holiday.
And where will you be staying?
With my parents, they live over there.
Lovely. Travel insurance?
Oh, no thanks.
Have you got travel insurance?
No.
Checked to see if you need any vaccinations?
No.
Checked out the local laws?
No, look. Why do I need to know all this? I'm just staying with my parents.
Is either of your parents A local lawyer, or the chief of police, B, fabulously wealthy, C, the owner of a private plane with its own fully trained medical staff, or D, none of the above?
D?
Lovely. Are you a superhero and in fact immortal?
Things can go wrong on holiday abroad, even if you're staying with family. So check it out before you check in. Find out more at gov.uk/knowbeforeyougo.
You can keep up to date with travel news and leave me a message at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Still to come on the travel show, travel news, including the extra runway at an airport and the two other airports who are bickering about having an extra runway, Heathrow and Gatwick. A little bit of news about them too. But at the moment, I'm speaking to my guest, John Edman, Director, Explore Minnesota. We're finding out why this state should be on the top of your holiday list, why you should visit there. We're now going to move on to more of the 21 reasons which were given on the infographic I mentioned earlier, and we've now moved on to winter. For your reasons for winter, it was winter sports and winter activities featured really heavily. Which is your favourite winter activity?
Well, me, see, we have everything. We've got resorts open. We've got the snowmobiling. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of different types of skiing and ice fishing. For me, I was born and raised in the state of Minnesota, and I started skiing in the winter, downhill skiing. And because it's fun, it's fast, we have downhill skiing all throughout the state from in the northern Minnesota, some incredibly long hills and run. People don't realize what you have up in places like Lutz, Minnesota, to ski in the metro area and along the Mississippi River and other places. That's what I started doing. I used to love, but as I got older, maybe the speed of the downhill skiing isn't as much of the attraction as it is the cross country. I love cross country skiing because you can get some exercise, you can enjoy the forests, the fallen snow throughout on the trees. It's just you even ski across the lakes. It's just beautiful. Something. So that's kind of my answer is what I enjoy doing now. And then with my kids, I've had kids, and I'm kind of been introducing them to skiing, and we've been going out to some places downhill skiing, and I suspect if they stay in this state, they'll go through the same progression that I have.
Mm-hmm. I understand what you mean about speed, because not skiing, but skateboarding. I recently visited a village I used to live when I was a kid, and I just seen the hill I used to skateboard down. I think I must have been mad to do that. No way would I do that now.
I know what you mean, because I did some bike. We did some downhill biking down some mountains with my children, and they thought it was a lot of fun to do. And I tried to keep up with them until I flipped around a corner and broke a rib. But ouch. Other than that, I've tried to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. The extra weight I carry doesn't help either.
No.
The 21st reason you gave on the list was your national parks. How many do you have in the state, and how much of the state do they actually cover? Well,
people don't realize it when they think of Minnesota. They don't realize the national park areas that we have. Even a lot of Minnesotans, when I tell them we have 6 national park areas, sometimes they have a hard time coming up with a name. The biggest one is Voyageurs National Park, which is bordering between Minnesota and Canada, and Rainy Lake and Lake Kaptogama. Just a unique park because it's really all built on water, on lakes. That's a gorgeous area. We have Pipestone National Monument in southern Minnesota, the Mississippi River National Recreation Area in the central part of the state, Grand Portage National Park area in northern Minnesota, the St. Croix River National Waterway, which borders between Minnesota and Wisconsin, is another national park area. And then the sixth one that people often have a hard time remembering is the North Country Trail that goes across Minnesota and all through across the entire top of the United States. That's a walking trail that's actually being signed a lot more today than it ever used to be, and you'll hear a lot more about that in the future. So we have 6 areas in the state of Minnesota for people to discover.
Moving away from the lakes, well, maybe not, but moving away from the countryside, some people obviously like doing city breaks. How does Minneapolis compare as a city break destination compared to the more well-known New York and Chicago?
Well, this is actually one of the things that I enjoy talking about, is because a lot of international visitors that have been to the more well-known places like you talk about, whether it's the New York or the Chicagos or the Los Angeles, but a lot of folks are looking for a new destination, the real America, as sometimes I call it. Minneapolis-St. Paul is a unique, large metropolitan area with international airline connections, built around the lakes. It still has all of the things that you would be looking for in a place like Chicago or New York. We have every sport: hockey, baseball, basketball. We have golf courses. We have the culinary opportunities. We have great arts. We have more theater per capita than New York does. So if someone's looking for an urban experience, you could find all of those things that you might want to discover in a place like Chicago or New York. But it's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit more accessible, and it's a little more unique part of a real America that maybe people are looking for.
I'm surprised about the theatre per capita thing. I never would have guessed that.
Arts is extremely important in Minnesota, whether it's film, whether it's music, whether it's drama. That's one of the reasons I love living here. You any night of the week you can find something to new and to discover, and to be just wowed about the cultural opportunities that we have in the state.
Is it easier to get around the city once you're there?
Yes, it is. And one of the things that people don't quite get is that Minneapolis, St. Paul, there are 2 cities, but they are divided by the Mississippi River. And they're incredibly close. So you have in Minneapolis is the larger city with more of the cosmopolitan feel to it. St. Paul is the state capital, but it's easy to get back and forth. We have light rail that can take you between Minneapolis and St. Paul. So easy way to get to the destinations. You also have light rail that takes you from Minneapolis directly to the airport. And if you want to just go a little bit farther, just about a mile or 2 down the road, Mall of America is there, which is the largest indoor shopping mall in the United States.
So for a visitor from the UK, would they be better off in Minneapolis or the St. Paul bit to base themselves? Does it make much difference to the cost per night?
No, it's dependent on the quality of the hotels, and you have all sorts of hotels at all different range, from the 5-star hotels to the hotels that are a little bit more for people that are a little more budget conscious. And then there's also a lot of hotel rooms in the Bloomington area, which is closer to the airport and it's close to the Mall of America. People are looking for that shopping opportunity that you can get there. And there's also, by the way, there's no tax on clothing here in Minnesota, so something for people to think about.
Yep, I'm already making a list of shopping stuff I want to pick up. I visited your website and it said you've got a connected skyway, but I'm not too sure what a connected skyway is.
Well, a connected sky. Well, actually, I'm here. I'm talking to you from downtown St. Paul, and we have an incredible skyway network. And what that means is that there are basically these enclosed, climate-controlled bridges from building to building. So in downtown St. Paul, let's just say you get a day that's a cold front goes through, or it's incredibly snowy. You want to go out to lunch and you just don't really want to go outside. You can walk literally from building to building to mile. There are miles and miles of interconnected buildings with restaurants and shops and things like that in St. Paul as well as in Minneapolis. So you can get around pretty easy on the second level on skyways in here, which kind of makes us a little unique. So that hopefully that answers your question, what connected skyways are, but you really got to come and experience it.
Yeah. Well, that seemed like a very good idea to me. I need them now. I just took my dog for a walk. I probably can't take my dog for your skyways, but it was raining really hard when I took him out, and I think I wish I could be undercover.
There's a lot of people actually that during the lunch hours or other times, people even that live downtown, they just walk through the skyways for exercise.